Laura Bush tries to bash Trump's immigration policy but ends up insulting her husband instead. By Amy Moreno for TruthFeedNews.com. Former FLOTUS Laura Bush came out swinging against President Trump, who is enforcing the immigration policies and laws that were on the books well before he arrived. But the Democrats don't want to acknowledge that fact. Well, needless to say, the tone-deaf, clueless former First Lady stepped in, a steaming pile of it, when she compared Trump's so-called immigration policy to Japanese entrapment camps, for crying out loud. Her own husband was blasted for separating illegal children from their parents back in 2005. Here's a portion of her op-ed on Sunday, a day we as a nation set aside to honor fathers and the bonds of a family. I was among the millions of Americans who watched images of children who have been torn from their parents. In the 6 weeks between April 19th and May 31st, the Department of Homeland Security has sent nearly 2,000 children to mass detention centers or foster care. More than 100 of these children are younger than 4 years old. The reason for these separations is a zero-tolerance policy for their parents who are accused of illegally crossing our borders. I live in a border state. I appreciate the need to enforce and protect our international boundaries, but this zero-tolerance policy is cruel. It is immoral, and it breaks my heart. Oh, poor Laura Bush. Our government should not be in the business of warehousing children in converted box stores or making plans to place them in tent cities in the desert outside of El Paso. These images are eerily reminiscent of the Japanese-American internment camps of World War II, now considered to have been one of the most shameful episodes in U.S. history. We also know that this treatment inflicts trauma. Interned Japanese have been 2 times as likely to suffer cardiovascular disease or die permanently than those who were not interned. Where was Laura Bush's op-ed on her husband's policy? There wasn't one. See, this is yet another attempt by the deep state to trash Trump right before the midterms, and like all other times before, they will fail. From 100% fed up, was Laura Bush out of the country when her husband, former President George W. Bush, Departments of Homeland Security, was criticized in a 2005 report by the House Appropriations Committee for separating illegal alien children from their parents? Even as young as nursing infants are being separated from their parents and placed in shelters. No, we don't worry about that because that was her husband. The New Yorker reported the detention of immigrants is the fastest growing form of incarceration in this country, and with the support of the Bush administration, it is becoming a lucrative business. At the end of 2006, some 14,000 people were in government custody for immigration law violations in a patchwork of detention arrangements, including space rented out by hundreds of local and state jails and 7 freestanding facilities run by private contractors. The number was up by 79% from the previous year, an increase that can be attributed in large part to the actions of Michael Chertoff, the Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security, which runs the Immigration and Customs Enforcement Division. In 2005, Chertoff announced the end of catch and release, the long-standing practice of allowing immigrants caught without legal documents to remain free inside the country while they waited for an appearance in court. Since these illegal immigrants weren't monitored in any way, the rate of no-shows was predictably high, of course, and the practice inflamed anti-immigrant sentiment. When immigration detention started its precipitated climb following the 9/11, private prison companies eagerly offered their empty beds and the industry was revitalized. One complication was that hundreds of children were among the immigrant detainees. Typically, kids had been sent to shelters which allowed them to attend school while parents were held at closed facilities. nobody thought that it was a good policy to separate parents from children, not immigration officials, not immigrant advocates, not Congress. In 2005, a report by the House Appropriations Committee expressed concerns about reports that children apprehended by DHS, the Department of Homeland Security, even as young as nursing infants, are being separated from their parents and placed in shelters. The committee also declared that children should not be placed in government custody unless their welfare was in question, and added that the Department of Homeland Security should release families or use alternatives to detention whenever possible. The report recommended a new alternative to detention known as the Intensive Supervision Appearance Program, which allows people awaiting disposition of their immigration case to be released into the community, provided that they are closely tracked by means such as electronic monitoring bracelets, curfews, and regular contact with caseworkers. The gay Trumpocrat, odd considering they were in cages back in 2014, and as opposed to the bedrooms with televisions, video games, and teachers that are with them now. Guess Bush wasn't too horrified by the treatment they were receiving versus now. Paula Wood, this law was in place since 2002. Trump is just obeying the law. There are no fences, cages, or tent cities. My son works in this field, so I know. Here is your research on the law, Homeland Security, there at dhs.gov. Well, she's a hypocrite. Look, they're looking for the election to make Trump look bad. That's bottom line. She had no problem with anything. So she just exposed herself as being another witch, just like Hillary Clinton. Well, I can't say she matches Hillary Clinton, but another one of the evil people that were in power back then. So she comes out swinging now to make Trump look bad. Well, too bad. You're only making your husband and yourself look even worse now, because most people had forgotten about a lot of your crap. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And again, thank you so much for watching.